Hi, my name is Matt Perko. I'm husband to a wonderful wife, father to an incredible 12-year-old boy. I'm a photographer, a musician, a graphic designer, and I'm also a heart transplant recipient. This X-ray that I'm holding was taken on November 15th, 1997, and it shows my very diseased heart in end-stage congestive heart failure, my internal cardiac defibrillator and wires, and also the wires that are holding my sternum together from a previous experimental open heart surgery. When I had this X-ray taken, I had no idea that 2 days later they'd put me on the list for a new heart. And then just 22 days after that I would actually receive the gift of a new heart. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've been placed on the list for a second heart transplant. About 5 years ago, during a routine angiogram, my team at Cedars-Sinai discovered 3 arteries nearly 100% blocked. I knew from that point on that the disease that I had developed, which is called cardiac allograft vasculopathy, was treatable but ultimately incurable. In fact, it's referred to as the Achilles heel of heart transplantation. So here I am facing a second heart transplant. My team feels that I'm an excellent candidate for a second transplant. Despite nearly 24 years of toxic medications, my other organs are functioning fine. I'm still in relatively good health, which makes me a good candidate. They feel that there's no reason I can't make it to 80, and that makes me happy. But the road to 80 is going to have a few bumps in the next year as I wait for a third chance at life. So here's how I ended up where I am now. I started playing drums when I was 3. All I ever wanted to be was a musician, and that's all I ever thought I would do. I started playing music professionally when I was 14 and was off to a great career. So then, as a normal 19-year-old with his whole life ahead of him, I got sick with what I thought was the flu, and it lasted for about 2 weeks, which is not normal. So I went to the doctor, and I was lucky that he saw that something else other than the flu must be going on, and he did a chest X-ray and an EKG, which clearly showed that I was in end-stage congestive heart failure. And that was the beginning of a 1.5-year journey where I had multiple cardiac arrests, experimental open heart surgeries, blood transfusions. At my sickest point, I was 6'2" and 128 pounds. I couldn't eat anything and keep it down. I was throwing up. And in fact, the night before I was admitted to the hospital, I was up all night throwing up blood. And at 6 in the morning, my mother came in and I said, "That's it, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to die." And she wouldn't take no for an answer. She said, "No, we're going to the hospital." And she dragged me into the car, and then we went to the hospital, and that was when that X-ray was taken, and 2 days later I was placed on the list. And then on December 9th, 1997, I was given a new heart, which changed my life forever. During my illness, I was no longer able to play drums. I was just too sick. And so I started turning to visual art, which, I never had a proclivity towards, but it was the only thing that I could do. So I started learning graphic design and photography. And, those two things became passions of mine that little did I know would become a career after transplant. This new heart really did give me a second chance at life. I was able to regain my music career. I've traveled the world playing music. I've been able to become a successful photographer. I fell in love, I got married. I have a wonderful child. We moved across the country, and I earned my bachelor's in photography. So that's where I find myself today. A 45-year-old jazz musician, photographer, graphic designer, a husband, a father, who needs a life-saving transplant. The first time around, it was much different. I was 19, I was waiting to see what my life would become. My whole life was ahead of me. Now I have the life that I want, and I'm really fighting to keep it and to see it through. Like anyone, I want to grow old. I want to grow old with my wife. I want to see my son grow up, go to college, start his own family. I want to record an album. I want to take 1 million more photos. I want to see what else is left for me. I'm not done yet. If this story inspired you in any way, please consider becoming an organ donor. There are many more folks waiting for organs than there are organs available. If you already are an organ donor, thank you, and please consider sharing this video anyway, because the more people that see it, the better. Thank you so much.